Hello YouTube world, Mac Daddy 1911A1 here with the Shade Tree Survivalist. This video is to add a second and third option to diagnosing why your M1A or your M14 rifle is not cycling properly, will not unload and reload automatically as it's supposed to be. Part one of this video, we covered the gas port here, and it's got its little pin there you turn, and if the little screwdriver slot is vertical, it is on, and if it is horizontal in line with the barrel, it is off. Your gas system is off. It will not cycle. That is only one possible cause, and I neglected that in part one, so let me add it, the other two possible causes. The next thing will be shooter induced. If you are left-handed and you're shooting and you lay your thumb up here instead of down here, the parasitic drag, even if you don't feel it moving under your thumb, the parasitic drag from your thumb will cause it to slow down enough or not open at all. But it could slow down enough to cause a jam, or it to cycle most of the way, but not far enough to strip off the next, first eject the spent brass, and second, to strip off the next cartridge off the magazine. And you can do the same thing if your support hand is under here. Now I've got an angled foregrip here, and this is where my hand automatically will go. Whether I'm shooting left-handed or right-handed, it doesn't matter. I'm going to grasp that because the weapon is long and it's heavy, and that helps me a lot. And on this particular rifle, you have on the EBR chassis, whether it's been modified like mine with angled foregrip or not, you have a cover here that prevents your hand from inadvertently touching that in any way, shape, or form. Now that's the second cause. Operator error, where you're creating drag on the op rod so it will not cycle all the way to the rear. It has to go all the way to the rear. Okay? It has to go there all the way, because if it does not, it will not give the magazine spring time enough to push the next cartridge up in front of the bolt, because there's always a split second there before the bolt starts returning. Okay, if you have a weak magazine spring, that can be a cause of problems right there. So because it's not fast enough to push the cartridge up before the bolt goes back forward, catches the rim, pulls it out of the pushes it out of the magazine feed lips, and it pops up and it slides on into the chamber. So parasitic drag on that. That's one other problem. The last thing I can think of, if you know you're not doing that, I mean, you videoed it, your hands are away from this, you're not causing any issues there. Whether you're left-handed or right-handed, your gas system is obviously on. The only other thing it could be is right in here, you have the spring guide, or the op rod guide. Okay, the op rod is flat here. It comes down and turns into a tube, and this tube runs up here, and it sits right up against the base of the back gas cylinder where the piston is. Okay, whenever you fire, gas is pulled out of it, or is forced through a little hole in the barrel down into the piston. The piston is hollow. The gas goes this way, pushing the piston to the rear, which pushes the op rod. Okay, where that guide is, there's a little spring pin, a little roll pin in there. And if it is clocked left or right, any at all, it could cause binding on the op rod. Easiest way to detect that is look at the freaking op rod and see if there's any shiny spots all over it. And if so, look at the orientation between, because I mean, it'll look like that. You want two cylinders square on with each other. If there's no shine, if there's like little stuttery spots where it's not a complete slick shiny spot, but there's a shiny spot, grease the damn thing. Okay, it's a semi-automatic rifle. Oil is not enough. Grease the op rod itself, the tube where it goes through the op rod guide, the op rod spring guide. Okay, the National Match one from Sage International is outstanding. That's what I have in this particular rifle. Grease it and the damn op rod spring. Grease your bolt lugs and the channels in which they lock, as well as the inside camming surface of your op rod itself and the roller itself. You want all that greased, as well as this track right here behind the op rod that the op rod moves in and out of. It needs grease, not oil. Either you do it one of two ways. You run that sucker dry, or you run it with grease. One of the two. Oil will gum it up and cause you problems over time. It is not a bolt action rifle. And even Tibersaurus Rex uses grease on his locking lugs on his rifle, his bolt action rifle. So y'all should think about that. So there's 3 causes if your rifle's not cycling. First, check your gas system. If that screw head is not vertical, pointing up and down, it is off. If it is in line with the barrel, it is off. If it's got to be up and down. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, watch where your placing your hand. If you're touching that op rod, you're going to cause issues. Number 3, the alignment of the op rod tube in relation to the gas piston and gas system here, and any parasitic drag. So that's actually 4 causes right there. Use grease, okay? Use grease. Now, where did I find out about the parasitic drag on the op rod? A regular guy training, okay? A regular guy firearms channel. I want to say his Vietnamese heritage, but the young fella knows his business. Former United States Army, veteran, blah, 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 served in Iraq, and I want to say Afghanistan also. He was shooting a scout squad, I believe, at one of James Yeager's classes and was having issues. And only because he was being videoed did he discover what his issue was. He was wearing gloves, and his hands were touching the op rod, and it was slowing it down just enough to cause it to misfeed, refuse to eject, so forth. So just make a conscious effort if you're left-handed and you're shooting it this way to keep your thumb below it. If you're right-handed, make sure your fingers here are not touching it, because all it takes is a little bit to slow it down and you're going to have issues. In the winter time, when it's going to be way below freezing or whatever, I wouldn't even use oil or anything. I would run that sucker bone dry, because you could have that parasitic loss and it will cause you issues. So, anywho, I hope this is helpful to any of you guys. Y'all stay tuned. I got another video I'm hoping to put up today or tomorrow on this AR bipod from Caldwell. They have issues, and I'd like to let you guys know before you buy one, not to say not buy one, because they're really stout and heavy duty, but they do have their issue. And I want to cover that so you guys know ahead of time so you won't have the problem I had. So y'all stay tuned for that video. Thank you very much for watching. If this video has helped you in any way, shape, or form, please do me a favor. Give it a thumbs up and a like. Thank you. Y'all take care and have a great day. And if anybody out there has friends who have M1As, M14s, share this video with them. Also M1 Garands, and to a lesser extent the Mini 14, because most of them have a cover to prevent that on their op rod. M1 carbines also. They all have that op rods, and they could have this issue. So something to for each one of those folks to know about. But anywho, thank you very much. Y'all take care. We'll catch y'all on the flip flop.